Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we're going to cover the Ripple Bank. Ripple is applied to be a bank now. We've been talking about this for 7 freaking years, folks. 7 years. In the group, we're going to talk about what would that look like if you, as an XRP holder, were able to go to Ripple Bank, put your XRP there. What kind of services could you get? We're also going to talk about the COMEX. Everybody knows that word. You can go to daixrp.com to join through the Patreon. You can click join below any of my YouTube videos if you'd rather join through there. Let's get this party started. iTrustCapital just put this out. Solana staking is now available on iTrustCapital retirement and premium custody accounts. Help secure Solana network, earn rewards directly from your iTrustCapital dashboard. Institutional grade crypto security solutions, 80 plus tokens available. Folks, is the writing on the wall? I'm hoping it is, because now we saw the CEO the other day make a comment about how he wants to provide more things for XRP holders. Add that together with this, they're paying interest on Solana, not just in the premium custody accounts, but also in the IRA accounts. That is massive. I'm hoping XRP's next. I've been partnered with iTrustCapital for a long time. You can open an IRA or a premium custody account. You can send your XRP right into a regular premium custody account. That's not an IRA. Or you can open an IRA, or you could roll an old 401k in. You can buy XRP right there in your IRA. I did. If you want to open an account, these guys have institutional custody, and the only fee you pay on iTrustCapital is a 1% trading fee. They don't charge you for the custody. Don't go anywhere where you have to pay for custody. Go to iTrustCapital.com/XRP Army if you'd like to go open an account on that page. All right, John Deaton's got a little bit of a link to thing. You know, anytime something like this happens, you know, immediately you have panic. I'm not panicked. I tell people this all the time. I have never been concerned about the money I put on the link to platform. For me, it's only a question of how this thing lands. Look at what John says. I was trying to reassure folks the same, but Brad Garlinghouse's voice is much more significant than mine, so thank you. There's simply no valid reason that unit holders on the Link2 platform can't participate in receiving increased value of Ripple shares, Circle shares, Kraken shares, SpaceX, etc. Be patient and don't panic. And Brad Garlinghouse had written this up. Okay, it seems my post raises a few more questions. First off, XRP and shares of Ripple are very different things. The post is only about shares in Ripple. Link2 is a very separate company that bought shares in Ripple from some of our existing shareholders. So Link2 would have had to talk to the guys at Ripple and work it out where they could buy shares. It should be reassuring that we, Ripple, are able to confirm that Link2 owns 4.7 million shares of Ripple. I have no idea how Link2 managed the participants to whom they sold representative units of Ripple shares, and thus I can't provide any reassurance about Link2's business practices or how they will handle it now. Good news is that the value of Ripple shares has increased significantly over time, and there should be considerable gains on those shares for Link2 unit holders. I believe, now look, this is just my opinion. I don't believe that this story, I mean, I think that there are people out there, you know, Link2, I mean, the investors on the Link2 platform are rightfully so had gotten panicked from a lot of the random things that have been put out there. But then you've got another section of social media that are intentionally trying to panic you. I'm not panicked at all. I believe the way this story ends, personally, in my opinion, I believe the way this story ends is with us getting to participate, rightfully so, in the good investments that we made, the smart investments we made, like in my case, Ripple, Uphold, Circle, to name a few. Okay, I have never been freaked out about it, because I saw the current CEO of Link2 on stage tell me that my SPVs were safe. I saw him say Link2 was never a scam. The only thing in question is whether there were some nefarious activities by an executive or two. That's what, and that Wall Street Journal article sure did have a negative slant to it, in my opinion. And that's kind of all I'll say there. But anyway, but I am not, and never have been, concerned about whether my shares were there. I heard it from the horse's mouth, the current CEO. Ripple Bank, Wall Street Journal, Ripple seeks a U.S. banking license, adding to the list of crypto companies. A national banking charter would make the OCC a regulator of Ripple's stablecoin. Folks, you know how many times we've been called hype, and we've been said that, those are old narratives and all this stuff. We've been calling this for 7 years. I've told you 1,000 times. Ripple's not an ordinary company. XRP's not an ordinary digital asset. That's why I have not been distracted and run off to this digital asset, that digital asset. I've been captivated by the connections that Ripple has had from day one, and the rooms that they've gotten into. That's why I'm here. That's why I've been fixated on this for so long. Brad Garlinghouse, true to our long-standing compliance roots, Ripple is applying for a national bank charter from the OCC. If approved, we would have both state via NYDFS and federal oversight, a new and unique benchmark for trust in the stablecoin market. Earlier in the week, via standard custody, we also applied for a Fed master account. While Congress is working towards clear rules and regulations, and banks, in a far cry from years of Operation Choke Point 2.0, are leaning in, the access would allow us to hold RLUSD reserves directly with the Fed, provide an additional layer of security to future-proof trust in RLUSD. Let me read that again. RLUSD reserves directly with the Fed and provide an additional layer of security to future-proof trust in RLUSD. Ripple always has and will continue to build trusted, battle-tested, and secure infrastructure in a $250 billion market. RLUSD stands out for putting regulation first, setting the standard that institutions expect. Now, think about how many times they said, banks will never use XRP. Well, what if Ripple is a bank and they use the XRP because Ripple is a lender of last resort? Remember when Miguel Valles said this?
Like, how do you intend to distribute the rest of the XRP then?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, Mahir. And I don't necessarily know that we'll ever distribute all of it. In my mind's eye, there's a possibility where, we end up more of a lending kind of, more of a lender of last resort capacity maybe. I think that would be a little strange for a software company, and maybe some things would have to change structurally. Maybe we have to have a different organization or something. Who knows, right?
And look at this. I saw this tweet. This is interesting. Ripple game plan. Get regulatory clarity, IPO, and go public as a bank. Become liquidity provider for major institutions. Can anyone add to this? There's a lot to add to it. And here's a timely video. Remember the U.S. Faster Payments
Hello, everyone.
Council?
I'm Pat Thielen. I'm the Vice President of Global Account Management at Ripple. We truly believe that there is an Internet of Value coming.
Folks, I'll spell it out for you. We've been right all along, in all caps.
Much like the Internet provided with communications and email in the 90s and through the beginning of the millennium, today the payment system is advancing. And unlike a lot of the other crypto players in Ripple's space, we truly believe that the revolution is going to occur from within. So the ecosystem that the U.S. Faster Payments Council has put together will be those players that will make sure we advance the industry. The working groups that are coming out, it's the cross-border, the QR, the directory model. These are really opportunities to take that user experience, the interoperability that has been designed in the other initiatives, and really apply it to real-world problems. Many countries have leapfrogged the U.S. in real-time payments, so this is a real opportunity for us to leverage a body like this. The playing field is set, and you can either sit on the sidelines or suit up with U.S. Faster Payments Council and change the game.
Playing field is set. You mean the level playing field that we've been fighting for so long? Yeah, that playing field. And I'm starting to hear a little bit of a narrative change. People are starting to question the Bitcoin narrative. Here's CNBC, who used to teach you how to buy XRP in 2017, and then for the next years, 5+ years, they pretended like they didn't understand it.
Do you think that as this all kind of shifts to the underpinnings and again, it is a better mousetrap for a lot of the ways that we've traditionally done cross-border payments and that kind of thing, but what does that mean for the future of Bitcoin itself? I'm very curious about this. You know, it's still perceived by many digital gold. Everyone wants a piece of it, apparently public companies too, but do you think that the frenzy for holding Bitcoin will last as long as we've seen it last up until now that crypto is just becoming an infrastructure layer?
Wait, it's becoming an infrastructure layer? Let me translate what she just said. What she just said is it was never Bitcoin. I've been telling you this for years. Bitcoin was the distraction. The things you're going to build, that you're going to tokenize the world on, are where this is really going. And I'm not saying they're not going to let Bitcoin live, and I do mean let. But Bitcoin was a distraction all along. It's been so obvious, and it's not easy when you're a voice in the wilderness while every single media outlet, all that you hear is Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. But anybody who's been paying real attention and has just a base understanding of how all this stuff works, it's not hard to figure out.
Eric, why persist with the kind of enthusiasm for Bitcoin when crypto is now so much more than that?
Yeah, great question, Kelly. I look at stablecoins as an on-ramp to Bitcoin because, especially in the developed world, we have a relatively stable banking system and relatively stable currencies. But Bitcoin, frankly, we wouldn't have as much enthusiasm for Bitcoin, wouldn't have had up until this point, if there weren't so much money printing and so much debasement of fiat currency around the world. In the developed world, of course, it's not been as much as in certain other countries. But frankly, the fact that Tether in particular was able to tap into emerging markets, really, I think they've recently said they've served 430 million active monthly users, a stunningly large number. And they're serving people who may make $1 or $2 a day in wages in places that don't even have access to electricity, for example. And so that's bringing a whole new demand.
Yeah, they hope. Okay, we're going to go into DAIXRP.com, which is the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click the join button right below any of my YouTube videos, or you can subscribe through X. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family. Let's go talk about what XRP holders might be able to do if they put their XRP with Ripple Bank. Here we go.